Hello children, this is your friend Martin, all ready to welcome you to the RT series by Heaven's Publishing House. Right children, this is your English course book, that is English Skylights by Shikha Sharma. And children, today we are going to begin with chapter number 9, that is where the mind is without fear, right? It is a very, very beautiful poem written by Rabindranath Tagore, and it is written at the time India was not free. It was still under the British rule, right? Now children, first let's see this exercise. Trafalgar Square. You know what Trafalgar Square is? It is a public space and a tourist attraction in central London. It is there in London, right in the very middle of London. It takes its name from Admiral Nelson's famous victory in the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805. This is where the name Trafalgar Square has come up. In the middle of the square is a tall pillar. The tall pillar in the middle of the Trafalgar Square, and it is called Nelson Pillar, right? It is 52-meter high, and on the top of it, you can see the statue of Admiral Nelson, right? So children, what do you think are the qualities that Admiral Nelson must have had to become a national hero? So what qualities do you think a person must possess, or even Admiral Nelson must have possessed in order to become a national hero? So yes, firstly, he had great courage, right? He was a very, very courageous and brave man. Secondly, he was a very inspirational leader. Yes, he used to inspire his folks. Also, he had great strategy, great naval strategy. He had skills, right? He had skills for great naval strategy and had great tactics, right? So, yes, these were all the qualities that Admiral Nelson had, right? Now, the next question, can you think of another such national hero, male or female? Name the person and mention 3 of his or her qualities. So now children, you are going to look up one hero, one national hero. It can be either male or female, and you have to jot down the qualities. Mention 3 of his or her qualities that have made him or her our national hero, right? So quickly go and do this exercise first. Now, about the poem. This poem is a prayer to God to protect the nation from evil effects. So Rabindranath Tagore here is praying to God, praying to Almighty to protect the nation from evil effects, from all the harmful effects. The poem was written by Rabindranath Tagore during the time when India was under the British rule, and people were eagerly waiting, they were anticipating their freedom, their independence, right? It is a prayer to the Almighty God for a nation free from any kind of manipulation or corrupt power. Here, writer, the poet here, prays to the Almighty that all its citizens, all its fellow citizens should become free. They should attain freedom from any corrupt power or manipulative power. Right? So are you all ready to listen to this lovely poem? Let's listen. Now, the poet starts. Though the mind is without fear, and the head is held high. So children, which fear is being talked about here? Yes, it is the fear that was inculcated in our minds by the British. The British rule, they had filled our people with constant fear, right? They dominated our people very badly. So all the people they used to live in constant fear. So the poet here says that where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. So here the poet society that he wants a place for his friends, for his fellow citizens where they can live without fear, from the fear of Britishers. And the head is held high. They can live with pride. They can hold their heads high. Right? So he is praying to the Almighty to free their nation, to get freedom to their country. Right? Where knowledge is free. He further prays that I want the knowledge to be free and accessible to all, right? Under the Britishers, it was not possible, right? He also says that the knowledge, all these institutes to give knowledge, irrespective of the caste and religion of the city. So knowledge should be made accessible to all. It should be free for all. It was not possible under the British rule. Right? Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Before it says that I want to see a world where there are no demarcations or barriers between people. You know, children, the Britishers, they followed a strategy of divide and rule in our country, right? And this created rivalries among different sections of our society, right? People, they used to live in their own sections in this and they serve people of their own religion. So, the Britishers made this strategy and divided our nation, right? So, here the poet says that I wish to see a world which has not been broken up into fragments, which is not divided, right? Which is not divided into smaller sections, smaller pieces. By narrow domestic walls. What are narrow domestic walls, children? These are the barriers that have been created in the society because of this policy, right? Because of religion and caste. There are several barriers that we, the people, have created for ourselves, right? In our mind. So we wish us to see a world that is free of all the domestic walls, no barriers. We do not want to see any barriers within our people. When words come out from the depths of truth, he wants his people to always abide by truth and honesty. No matter what the situation be, he wants the citizens to always follow the path of honesty and truth, right? They must never be truth and honesty for any of the problems, for any situation, from what may. Where time is striving, stretches its arm towards perfection. Now, children, you can see that he's using a figure of speech called personification here, right? He's saying where tireless striving stretches its arm, right? He is using striving, he is depicting striving means to try very hard, right? That trying hard is depicting as a person who is stretching its arm towards perfection. So he says that people of his nation must never stop trying really hard to achieve the perfection. What is perfection? Is the ideal nation that they wish to see, the free nation that is free from any corrupt powers like British rule, like Britishers, right? So he says, where tireless striving stretches its arm towards perfection, where people do not need to try hard, they do not stop trying hard in order to achieve perfection of their ideal country, right? Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of their habits. Now, the poet describes reason as reason means logic. He describes logic as a clear stream, right? Stream, like you can see, is always unpolluted and pure. So he describes reason and logic as, right, the clear stream, which is so pure and unpolluted. So same way he wants the people of our country should have ideas which are as unclouded and as pure as the water of a stream. And what is dreary? Dreary means into the dreary desert kind of dead habit. What is dreary? Dreary means depressed, right? Desert sand of dead habit. So he says instead of following all those age-old superstitions and beliefs, right, we should give more value to reason and logic, right? Sorry. So the quote says that all our actions should be based on reason and logic and not on all these superstitions and beliefs that we have carried over all these years, right? So we should be more reasonable and more logical in our approach. Where the mind is led forward by thee. Now he again says that I want that the mind, my mind, and all the people's mind, it should be supported and guided by thee. Thee means thee is referred to here as God, to the Almighty. He is requesting God to guide and support his people, right? Into ever widening thought and action. Ever widening thought and action means he is requesting Almighty to broaden the minds and hearts of the people of his country, so that he is also encouraged. He wants God to encourage them into thoughts and good thoughts, noble thoughts and actions, right? He should broaden their minds and hearts into that heaven of freedom. Only then he says that we could enter that heaven. What is the heaven? Heaven of freedom, where our country is free of any foreign rule, any foreign power, right? My father, he is referring here to the Almighty. He says, into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. Wake up the people of my country from their deep slumber and motivate them and guide them to the beautiful freedom, to the beautiful heaven of freedom, right? So he wants his people to awaken from this deep slumber and start working hard together with all the people as a united nation towards the freedom of our country, right? Only then can we achieve this heaven, that is the freedom, right? I hope the poem is clear to all of you children. Any doubt? Well, children, now this was written by Rabindranath Tagore at the time when India was still under the British rule. Clear? Good. Now, freedom in the poem means not only the absence of every bondage. Does not mean freedom from only slavery. The freedom should be social, political, and economic, but also means that freedom of the mind. Our mind should be free, right? It should not live in constant fear of the Britishers. Courage in the pursuit of knowledge and truth. Nobody should be afraid to pursue knowledge, to pursue truth, right? And the fearless exercise of reason. That people should base all their actions on reason, based on logic and not the belief and superstition. Right? Clear? Now children, let's answer the following questions with reference to the context. Number 1, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Number 1, what do narrow domestic walls represent? So, these walls represent the barriers between the different sections of our society based on religion, caste, and color. Right? B, how do these walls reduce the world into fragments? So these walls, children, they create rivalries between people, right? Between our people, and they have divided, they have broken down themselves into smaller sections. They are not united as a nation. What kind of world would we have if these worlds would not exist? If these worlds did not exist, we would have a united nation which will work together to achieve its independence, right? 22. Where the mind is led forward by these into ever-widening thought and action. Whose mind is being referred to here? The mind of the citizens of our nation, right? The minds of our people are being referred to here. Meaning that praying to Almighty to guide the minds of the people. Who is being addressed as the God? God, the Almighty, is being addressed as the. What role does the poet wish be to play? The poet wishes the Almighty to play the role of a guide. He wants Almighty to guide and support the people so that we can work together to attain the independence of their nation. Right? What does the phrase ever widening thought and action mean? It means that people should have a broad heart and mind, right? Their thoughts should not be shallow. We should not have shallow thoughts, and we should have a broad perspective, broad thinking, broad mind, and a broad heart, big heart. Right? Now, you have to complete the line from the home tuition. I hope you have learned it by heart now. Right, very good. So, all the children are going to complete these lines by yourself. Good. Now let's answer the following questions. Number 1, what do you understand by the line where knowledge is free? So the poet here is praying to Almighty for a place where knowledge is free, where everyone has access to the knowledge. Knowledge is free, accessible to all, irrespective of their religion or caste. Right? Why would the poet's ideal country be a setting of freedom? Why does he say that the ideal country be a setting of freedom? Because he's living at the time when India was under the rule of Britishers, right? And he wishes to see a country where the people of this country do not have to live in constant fear, right? And also they can live with their heads held up high. So that is why he has called the freedom as heaven, right? What is the figure of speech used in the line where tireless striving presses its arm towards perfection? So, remember I told you, good children, wonderful. So this personification here, the poet is describing, tireless striving as a person, as a human being who is stretching its arm towards a perfect and ideal country, right? What does the poet mean by the phrase, let my country away? Yes, he is praying to the Almighty to awaken the people of his country so that they can be united, right? They should follow logic and logic because they can unite together to fight for their freedom, right? What state was the country in earlier? It was in deep slumber. It was in a state of deep sleep where they were under the rule of Britishers and they were busy fighting among themselves only, and whereas they should be fighting unitedly as a nation to drive the corrupt part away from our country. Right? Who do you think the poem is addressed to? Who do you think the poem is being addressed to, children? It is addressed to the Almighty, where the poet is praying. This is a prayer of the poet that is addressed to the God, to the Almighty, to help its citizens enter into a world, into a heaven of freedom. Right? Clear to all of you? Great. Now, I have understood this story, children. So that was all for today. I'll see you guys soon with the next chapter. Till then, stay blessed and stay great, children. Bye.